everybody, Tyrone the God 3 here, and welcome back to Dragon Ball Super Reviews. Today we'll be doing the review of episode 103, Gohan, Show No Mercy, Showdown with Universe 10. So this episode begins with basically going off where the last episode left off, where Rebreen is pissed that one of her fighters, one of her fellow teammates, went down, and she gets all fired up, and, she's ready to show down with the others. She gets really pissed off, and when that happens, we also see that Suro is fighting Goku still, and this annoys me. So Suro's fighting Goku, and she does this thing where she basically makes all of her punches turn into little energy bombs, and they all fly towards Goku, and they surround Goku, kind of like the Hell Zone grenade, and Goku's surrounded, and then they all come in, and they're about to strike Goku. And then Android 17 comes in for the save and uses energy field. Now, can I ask a question? Why? And that's a why to multiple things. Like, why didn't Goku use instant transmission to dodge all of those energy blasts surrounding him? It would have only taken a second. Like, I don't see why he couldn't do that. Two, why did Android 17 separate from his fight with Rebreen in order to use the energy field to defend Goku when Goku could have just used the instant transmission? I mean, you can make the argument 17 didn't know that Goku could use it, but still, Goku can use the instant transmission. Like, I feel this entire scene was made for one reason. To harken back to the fact that back in Dragon Ball Z, Piccolo used the Hell Zone grenade on Android 17, and 17 ended up blocking it with the energy field attack. And I guess, much like Dragon Ball Super always tries to do, they tried to recreate that moment. Yeah. Why? Because it's an iconic moment, and Dragon Ball Super is like a kid who can't really do his own homework, so he's got to copy off a smarter child, Dragon Ball Z. And I feel like that's the only reason that scene exists, because immediately after that, they go back to their respective fights, and then Goku uses the instant transmission anyway to get behind Susumu. So what was the point of that entire scene? Also, why isn't Goku Super Saiyan? Like, I feel like Super Saiyan would have ended this. You could make the argument he wants to save power, but he shouldn't be struggling in this fight. To me, this shouldn't even be a fight he should be struggling with. But he does catch on to the fighting style, and I will admit, when he counters a lot of the energy balls and uses them along with the Kakai explosion. I mean, not a Kakai explosion, but yeah, it's a Kakai explosion, not a Hakai. I was confusing it with that. But he combines them and blasts Susumu off, and that was really cool to look at. Like, I thought that was a cool technique. It didn't knock her out, though, so pay attention to the fact that she didn't get eliminated. Because 17 gets a good hit in, too, but then the Yard Trap Warrior ends up coming in and retreating them at last minute so they could preserve their power, and I thought that was a pretty good use of a Yard Trap. So then we move on to the next focus of this episode, which is Gohan, and this is the main focus. Now, Gohan has to fight Botamo, and Botamo can't get hurt. He's invulnerable. And what annoys the hell out of me about this is Gohan's strategy is simple. Not to directly do damage to Botamo, but to just keep lifting him up in the air with the force of each impact from each hit. And then once he's suspended in midair, knock him out of the arena. Can I ask another question? Why isn't Botamo on top of Vegeta like in the beginning of the tournament? I feel like that was a surefire strategy. Botamo can't get lifted because Vegeta is too heavy. Vegeta can't get insulted and knocked off guard because his ears are being covered. It was a legit problem for Vegeta. Like, it was a legitimate problem that Vegeta had to deal with. So why didn't they just keep it going that way? I feel like that would have been a smarter strategy. I guess they did that specifically to give Gohan an opponent he can beat off so that he can show his strength. But whatever. And Goku and Piccolo take the time to watch Gohan's fight. Then Goku goes off to go find Jiren or whatever, and Piccolo ends up fighting off against one of the Universe 10 fighters. There's only 2 Universe 10 fighters left, so Piccolo ends up fighting one, and Gohan ends up fighting the other. Piccolo ends up beating one of the Universe 10 fighters using the Hell Zone grenade, and I gotta make another comment. It's weird to see the Hell Zone grenade used twice in one episode. I'm sorry, I may be nitpicking here, but to see basically 2 characters use the exact same attack in the exact same episode in rapid concession like that just got sort of jarring. Yes, I know there's episodes in various anime where characters use multiple attacks that look the same or are the same at the exact same time. But I don't know. The whole point of the Hellzone Grenade is that it's supposed to be this very strategic, out-of-the-box move. But to see everybody use it at once now is just sort of like, ugh, it makes it lose its value. But obviously, Piccolo, it can't be the only one that's able to use that move. I get it. It's just, it lowered its awe factor to see other characters use it in the exact same episode as Piccolo using it. It doesn't feel like a Piccolo move anymore. Now it just feels like a move, kind of like energy volley or full power energy wave. Anybody can do it. Anyway, we move on. And Piccolo beats his fighter. Gohan fighting off against the guy who has the ability to make like projections of himself so they can scatter his energy amongst each of them, and then Gohan can't track him. And the two actually have a pretty legitimate fight. Like, I think that fight should have actually been longer, and they had a nice like little moments of Dragon Ball Z put in there. What I mean is, like, yeah, there were moments where hits were happening one after another, and I'm not talking about in rapid succession like the generic like, you know, characters doing multiple punches and kicks. I mean, like, it was just like bam, one punch, bam, one punch, bam, one punch, bam, one punch, bam, one kick, bam, one punch. Like, it was those. If you want a nice example of what I mean by this, I think the best example of this is Piccolo versus Android 17 in Dragon Ball Z, where they both just like land these consecutive, slow, really powerful blows towards each other. And I thought it was really cool to see that, and Gohan ultimately ends up winning his fight just out of pure brute force. Gohan wins his fight, and because he wins his fight, all of the Universe 10 fighters are down. Since all of the Universe 10 fighters are down, they end up getting eliminated, which means we see Gowasu get eliminated right before our eyes. And I thought that was kind of messed up because we actually knew who Gowasu was. And then we also see, and they did this specifically to pull at Gohan's heartstrings, we see that the last fighter that Gohan fought had a pendant, and inside the pendant was the fighter himself, and then his wife and his child, who was about the same age as Pan was. And we see that the entire pendant gets vaporized too, to show that Universe 10 is completely wiped out of the picture. Everything retaining to Universe 10 is gone. And that made Gohan think really hard and, you know, get very emotional because he just saw, you know, an entire universe get wiped away, and there were two fathers fighting in order to save their universes. I thought that was a very powerful scene, actually. And I'm going to give Dragon Ball Super credit where credit is due. It reminds me of the time that when Gohan was a kid and he was training, and you wouldn't see this if you don't watch the filler of Dragon Ball Z, but when Gohan was a kid and he befriended a dinosaur and the dinosaur died and Gohan looked at its corpse. Very, very powerful scene, and I thought that was around the I won't say it matched, but it was around the same level. So, yeah, and then we also see that the Angel of Universe 10 is upset that they're all gone as well. And basically, at that point, the episode ends. Pros of this episode, like I stated before, Gohan, you know, just looking over the fact that a father, much like himself, a family man, had to witness another father, a family man, die and be completely eliminated in order to survive in this tournament. Like the darkness of this tournament and what's at stake. Although the Super Dragon Ball sort of eliminate that. But you know what? Still. And then also I did like that there was a lot going on. Like, I will admit that there was a lot going on between Gohan fighting a couple of Universe 10 fighters and then the whole, them still fighting off the Universe 2 characters. Because, honestly, the Universe 2 stuff ended last episode, but I'm glad to see they didn't just cut it off. They had a transition from the Universe 2 to Universe 10. So, yeah, that was pretty noteworthy. But then after that, like I said, we see that there was some, I do like the Universe 2 fighters, like I stated before, so it was cool to still see them in action. And it was cool to see, you know, Gohan reminisce over that, or like lament over that, I'm sorry. Cons, like I said before, repetition of using the Hellzone Grenade. And there was a lot of repetition in this episode, like when Pseudo fought against Goku and was doing that. I get it. Her whole fighting style revolves around multiple attacks, multiple flurries of punches, but it was getting a little annoying to see her go 1,000 times. Like, in a weird way, it reminded me of the guy from Fist from the North Star, where he's like, so, but it happened a lot to the point where I was just like, ugh, this is getting kind of jarring, but like I said, there's a lot of how come this character didn't do this or how come this character didn't do this. Like there was the whole like Botamo lost only because he didn't stick to his strategy of being on top of Magetta. Like I don't know why they stopped doing that. Goku didn't use the instant transmission only because they wanted to show off that energy field nonsense. It's just a whole lot of moves were made that I feel like these characters shouldn't have been making just based on what I've seen of them fighting prior. So, yeah, but anyway, yeah, that's pretty much the downsides. But overall, this episode was okay. It did its job. It showed off, another universe is eliminated. So we got two universes. Universe 9 and Universe 10 are now gone. And then we move on to the next episode, which is Ultimate High Speed Battle Begins. Goku and Hit join forces. And I actually do have a couple of things I want to say about that episode as well, because I see that they're doing a very marketing commercialized move here, and I'll have those comments for when that episode actually airs this Saturday. So with that said, I'll see you all then, everybody. Tyrone the God 3 out.